The silence of your small apartment wraps around you like a worn, familiar shroud. It is not the peaceful quiet of a mind at rest, but the hollow echo of absence, a constant reminder of the life you once commanded. Dawn's tentative fingers stretch across the warped floorboards, painting thin stripes of gray light through the grimy window pane. You rise, a slow unfolding of stiff joints, the weight of years and failures pressing into your bones. The ritual is etched deep. Coffee, black and bitter, mirroring the taste you've grown accustomed to. Your gaze drifts to the framed commendation gathering dust on the shelf. A relic from a different man, a different life. You were the face of that failure, the scapegoat for a phantom's escape. They stripped you of your badge, your credibility, and almost your sanity. Now you exist on the fringes, a ghost haunting your own forgotten career. The phantom of that past case, a constant companion, its tendrils twisting around every thought. The insistent vibration of your burner phone shatters the fragile calm. It's an unknown number, yet you answer, a flicker of an old instinct igniting in your chest. Seth? It's the detective? The voice on the other end is strained, a barely contained tremor beneath the professional veneer. You recognize it, a man you once mentored, now a superior in the hierarchy you tumbled from. I know you're not working, but I need you to see something. A sigh escapes you, a long, weary exhalation. I'm out, you know that. There's nothing I can do. No, Seth, you don't understand. It's just like before. The symbolism, the precision. His voice drops, hushed, as if speaking a forbidden truth. The bird, Seth, the carved raven, a unique, unsettling signature. The calling card of the killer who had eluded you, the detail that had haunted your nightmares for half a decade. You grip the phone tighter, your knuckles white. Where? You ask, the word a rasp in your throat. The harbor. Pier 7. A yacht. Get here, Seth, please. Unofficially, of course. Just tell me I'm wrong. The drive is a blur of churning thoughts. The city lights a distant, indifferent glow. The air grows heavy, thick with the scent of salt and an approaching storm. Rain begins to pepper the windshield, fat drops splattering against the glass, obscuring the path ahead. It's a fitting backdrop, you think, for the return of a ghost. You pull your battered sedan into the designated parking area, the only vehicle apart from a cluster of official cruisers. The harbor is a skeletal landscape of masts and rigging, swaying precariously in the rising wind. Uniformed officers mill about, their yellow slickers bright against the encroaching gloom. A barrier tape, stark yellow, stretches across the pier entrance, an unwelcome invitation. The detective spots you, his face a mask of grim resignation, and waves you through. His eyes, usually sharp and confident, hold a haunted quality you recognize all too well. He doesn't offer a handshake, perhaps out of respect for your unofficial status, or perhaps a lingering discomfort. It's bad, Seth, he murmurs, leading you along the slick wooden planks. The wind whips your hair, carrying the metallic tang of the sea. The rhythmic creak of ropes against metal, the mournful groan of the dock itself, creates a disquieting symphony. Ahead, bobbing gently with the swell, is the yacht at anchor storm closing in, sealed briefcases. Its pristine white hull now seems a stark, almost obscene canvas against the gray, turbulent water. Rain lashes down with renewed ferocity, blurring the lines between sea and sky, making the world a canvas of shifting gray. You step onto the deck, the polished teak slick beneath your worn shoes. The interior is a tableau of controlled chaos. Forensic technicians, their faces obscured by masks, move with practiced efficiency, their camera flashes momentarily illuminating the opulent cabin. Your eyes are drawn immediately to the center of the room. There, sprawled across a plush velvet settee, is the victim, A man, impeccably dressed, his face frozen in a rictus of shock. His chest bears a single precise wound, a crimson flower blooming on his expensive shirt. It's a familiar wound, a signature you'd hoped never to see again. But it's not the wound that truly steals your breath, that sends a jolt of ice through your core. Beside the victim's hand, resting almost delicately on the polished wood of a side table, is a small, intricately carved raven. Its obsidian eyes seem to gleam even in the muted light, a silent, mocking witness. It's identical to the one found 5 years ago. Your gaze sweeps the cabin, taking in the details. On a nearby table, several sealed briefcases sit undisturbed, their contents unknown, their purpose a mystery. They seem almost out of place amidst the violence, pristine and untouched. The storm outside howls, a primal lament mirroring the turmoil erupting within you. This is no mere coincidence, no copycat. It's the Phantom. He's back. He was merely waiting for you to stumble back into his game. The game you lost, and now you're inadvertently, irrevocably back in it. The wipers struggle against the deluge, a futile dance as the city's periphery blurs into an indistinguishable wash of neon and shadow. You pull the vehicle to a stop, the engine's tremor a familiar comfort against the mounting unease. Salt-laced air, now sharp with the tang of ozone, invades the cabin as you step out, the rain instantly plastering your clothes to your skin. The wind, a restless spirit, whips at your hair, carrying the distant groan of foghorns. This isn't the familiar territory of your past, yet the gravity of the atmosphere feels chillingly similar. Ahead, the dock hums with a subdued, frantic energy. A constellation of emergency lights paints the wet asphalt in stark reds and blues, reflecting in the puddles like shattered jewels. Figures in rain gear move with a grim purpose, their hushed voices swallowed by the rising howl of the wind. You are drawn, inexorably, towards the shimmering chaos. A figure detaches itself from the cluster of uniformed bodies, moving with a familiar, heavy gait. His eyes, when they meet yours, hold a strange mix of resentment and something akin to desperation. He doesn't offer a greeting, merely a curt nod, his jaw tight. Corbin, he rasps, his voice rough against the wind's shriek. Thought you'd want to see this. The invitation is less a request, more a begrudging acknowledgement of your peculiar expertise. He leads you along the slick wooden planks, the rhythmic creak beneath your boots, a counterpoint to the storm's growing crescendo. You reach the gangway, a temporary bridge leading to the main deck. The detective gestures towards the vessel. New money. Just bought it last month. Your eyes trace the sleek lines of the vessel. The briefcases, 4 of them, sit neatly stacked on a polished table within the main salon, their leather glinting dully under the interior lights. Too tidy, too deliberate. On deck, the scene is meticulously contained. You catch glimpses of their gloved hands, their careful collection of unseen fragments. A financier. Name was Maxwell Thorne. You step inside, the sudden quiet of the cabin a stark contrast to the tempest outside. The air here is still, cloying, thick with the scent of expensive wood and something else. Something indefinable that prickles at the back of your throat. Your eyes immediately find the victim, slumped in a high-backed leather chair, his head resting against the plush fabric. He looks almost serene, a man asleep, if not for the unnatural stillness, the faint discoloration of his skin. But it's not the victim that seizes your attention, not immediately. It's the arrangement. A single white orchid, pristine and delicate, rests on a small, ornate side table beside the chair, its petals unmarred. And then, you see it. On the floor, meticulously placed just beyond the reach of the victim's outstretched hand, a small silver locket. It's open, revealing a faded photograph of a young woman smiling. Your breath catches. The orchid. The locket. It's a phantom limb ache, a memory of a wound that never truly healed. No signs of forced entry, the detective continues, oblivious to the tremor that just passed through you. No struggle, nothing taken, far as we can tell. Except, he trails off, his gaze drifting towards the neatly stacked briefcases. Those were empty, all of them, just the cases. You ignore him, your focus fixed on the locket. It's identical. A ghost from your past case, reanimated in this present horror. The one that splintered your career, tarnished your name, and left you haunted. The victims then, too, were found with an orchid, a locket. Always a locket, always open, always with a photograph of a woman you could never identify. Seth? The detective's voice pulls you back, his tone laced with a grudging respect that grates against your raw nerves. You see it, don't you? It's just like the others, your others. He offers no apology for the bluntness, no softening of the implication. He knows. He remembers your insistence that these were not isolated incidents, but links in a chain that no one else could see. A bitter taste fills your mouth. You wanted to leave this world behind, to sever all ties with the ghosts that clung to your coattails. But the universe, in its cruel indifference, has a way of dragging you back. The storm outside intensifies, battering the yacht, mirroring the tempest brewing within you. The phantom has returned. Or perhaps, as you always suspected, it never truly left. You feel the pull, an insidious current drawing you into the familiar, suffocating depths of an old, unfinished hunt. The words of the detective echo, a dissonant hum in the quiet hollow of your memory. He's back, Seth. Or he never left. The implication, a cold tendril snakes through the dust of your disgrace, stirring embers you thought long extinguished. There is no comfort in being right, only a searing vindication, sharp as broken glass. You feel the pull, an undeniable current dragging you back into the treacherous depths you swore to abandon. The city lights blur as you drive, a kaleidoscope of distant, uncaring blazes. The vessel bobs gently, a cradle against the encroaching tempest. This is where you keep the ghosts, the fragments of your obsession. The sealed briefcases, once evidence, now relics of a shattered career, are pulled from their hiding places. Their clasps click open with a sound like a sigh, releasing the scent of aged paper and forgotten sorrow. The cabin lamp casts a warm, anemic glow, illuminating the chaotic geography of your past. Photographs, crime scene reports, witness statements. The detritus of a case that broke you. You spread them across the polished mahogany table, a macabre tapestry woven from the threads of despair. Your fingers, calloused from disuse, trace the lines of a victim's face, a stark black and white image from years ago. Her eyes, wide and vacant, stare back silent accusations. You remember her name, the shape of her laughter, the dreams snuffed out too soon. The first file, brittle and yellowed, is the one that started it all. The one that branded you a pariah. You pore over the forensic reports, the initial dismissals, the casual assumptions that grated against your gut then, and still do now. Your eyes snag on a detail, buried deep within a pathologist's notes, a single terse line about the ligature. Unusual knotting pattern, consistent with a complex bowline derivative. At the time, it was logged, noted, then forgotten, subsumed by the more pressing questions of motive and opportunity. But you remember the way your mind had snagged on it even then. A knot. Not a simple noose, not a hasty tie, but something precise, almost deliberate in its complexity. You remember arguing with the lead investigator, a man whose pragmatism had always overshadowed his imagination. He had dismissed it as a quirk, a signature of convenience. You pull out a fresh pad of paper, stark white against the aged documents. You sketch the knot, replicating the diagram from the old report, your memory of its intricate loops surprisingly vivid. A bowline derivative, yes, but with a specific, almost decorative twist. It's not a knot for efficiency, it's a knot for effect. Then you recall the brief, hushed words the detective uttered about the new victim. Similar method, Seth. Too similar to ignore. He hadn't specified the knot, of course, but the implication was heavy. Your mind races, connecting disparate points. If the new crime bears this signature, this unique, almost artistic knot, it would be the undeniable link you've sought for years. It would be the proof that no one else had believed you capable of seeing. Your eyes scan further, past the initial findings, into the less scrutinized appendices. There, in a list of items recovered near the first victim's body, is another entry. Small, tarnished silver locket, engraved with a single stylized wave. It was deemed unrelated, a stray piece of jewelry, perhaps dropped by the victim or a passerby. But your gaze lingers. A wave. A solitary crest of silver found near a body discovered not far from the coast. You remember the old case files mentioning the victim's affinity for the sea, her dream of sailing. The reveal. This locket, dismissed as insignificant, now feels like a taunt, a deliberate placement. It's too specific, too poetic in its symbolism, found too close to a crime marked by an intricate, almost artistic knot. The killer, if it is indeed the same, possesses an almost theatrical flair, an eye for detail beyond mere brutality. The knot, the locket, the proximity to water, these are not random acts. They are threads in a narrative, a twisted story being told across the years. You gather the old files, the weight of them pressing down, but this time it is not a weight of defeat. It is the heft of possibility, of a path illuminated. You have found a whisper in the past, and now you must listen to its growing roar. He's back, Seth. There is no comfort in being right, only a searing vindication that burns like an open wound. You trace the rim of a forgotten coffee mug, the ceramic cool beneath your thumb. Now it feels less like a scar and more like a fresh incision. A sharp rap at the door jolts you. You eye the frosted glass, a silhouette visible, indistinct. A delivery. You open the door a crack, wary. The delivery courier, a young man with an indifferent gaze, extends a small, unmarked package. No return address, no sender name. Just your name, etched in precise, almost calligraphic script. Inside the plain brown paper, nestled in a bed of shredded newsprint, rests an antique brass key, its teeth intricate and worn smooth with age. Beside it, a sepia-toned photograph, its edges softened by time. You pick it up, your fingers brushing the delicate surface. It's a snapshot of a younger you, perhaps 20 years ago, standing on the deck of a sleek vessel. Your arm is around a woman, her face mostly obscured by the sun's glare and the photograph's fading. The boat, a yacht, gleams white against an azure backdrop. Beneath the photograph, a folded square of heavy cardstock. Your name, Seth, again in that same unnervingly elegant hand. Others, inevitable. Find what you lost, Seth, before the tide claims it all. The words are a gauntlet thrown, a direct challenge. The key, the yacht, the woman whose face eludes you. This is not just about the new victims or the old case. This is about you. The phantom killer, the one who stole your career, now seeks to steal your peace. Perhaps even your life. A quick search, a dive into the forgotten corners of your memory, and the digital archives you still access through illicit channels, confirms the yacht's identity. It was a vessel you knew intimately, a place of solace, of dreams, a place you believed was long gone, sold off with the wreckage of your past. But the records indicate it's been recently spotted, docked in a remote marina far from prying eyes. The wind howls, a mournful lament, as you pull into the desolate marina. Most berths are empty, the boats either pulled ashore or braving the open water. But there, at the furthest end of a creaking pier, she sits. The yacht. Your yacht. Or what remains of it. The waves crash against the hull, a rhythmic thud that vibrates through the wooden planks of the pier as you approach. The antique key slides into the lock of the main cabin door with a soft click, a sound that resonates with a strange finality. You push the door open, stepping into a space that feels both familiar and utterly alien. The scent of old wood and stagnant air fills your lungs. They are identical sturdy leather, their clasps gleaming faintly. These are the sealed briefcases. The storm outside gathers its full fury, rain lashing against the windows, the yacht swaying gently with the powerful swell. You reach for the first briefcase. You press them, and they spring open with a sharp snick. Inside, not documents, but a tableau. Your badge, the one you surrendered in shame. Next to it, a single yellowed newspaper clipping, the same one from your corkboard, detailing your disgrace. But beneath these, carefully placed, is a small, ornate silver frame. It holds a photograph, crisp and remarkably preserved. It is the woman from the old sepia snapshot, her face now clear, unblemished by the sun's glare or time's decay. Her eyes, a striking shade of emerald, stare out at you. A ghost from a past you thought buried. Eleanor, the woman from your past. The one whose disappearance was the true catalyst for your downfall. The unresolved thread that unraveled everything. He knew about you. This wasn't just a challenge. It was an excavation of your deepest wound, a deliberate, cruel twist of the blade. The pressure in your chest tightens, a vice. The storm outside rages, mirroring the tempest building within you. A quick sea search, yes. That's where the whispers led you. A cold trail across churning water. The ocean, vast and indifferent, mirrors the chasm in your gut. You recall the detective's dismissive wave, their satisfied pronouncements regarding the marina owner, a man named Arthur with a history of petty grievances and a conveniently shaky alibi. They believe they have their man, a convenient closure to a case that feels far too familiar, far too meticulously staged. But you know better. The phantom whispers in your mind. The echoes of the past demand more. They demand truth. Your eyes scan the moored vessels, a silent parade of leisure and commerce. The air thickens, heavy with the promise of a tempest. Overhead, gulls cry a frantic warning, their calls swallowed by the rising wind. The yacht appears abandoned, yet its presence here, bobbing with an almost defiant grace, feels deliberate. Arthur, the marina owner, was a landlubber, his hands rough with tools, not ropes. The detective, however, had brushed off your observation, focused on Arthur's recent quarrel with the first victim over a disputed mooring fee. The cabin door, surprisingly, yields to a gentle push. No forced entry, no signs of a struggle. A staged abandonment, perhaps? A half-empty glass of amber liquid rests on a small table, a subtle tremor in its surface betraying the rocking of the boat. This isn't Arthur's style. His taste ran to cheap beer and worn-out dive bars, not single malt and bespoke interiors. You run your fingers over the cool glass, a phantom warmth lingering from a recent occupant. Then you see them. 3 sealed briefcases, arranged neatly on a plush settee. Their leather is supple, expensive, their clasps gleaming. They look untouched, almost ceremonial. The official search, you realize, would have focused on the marina owner's dilapidated fishing trawler, not this pristine vessel. They would have missed this. They did miss this. You approach the briefcases, your breath held tight in your chest. The storm outside begins to rage in earnest, the yacht groaning, the wind howling a mournful dirge. You try the latches on the first, then the second. Both are locked, secured with small, intricate combination mechanisms. But the third briefcase has a latch that gives way with a soft click. It's not locked. A deliberate oversight or a precise message? Your fingers tremble slightly as you lift the lid. Not stacks of cash, not incriminating documents, but something far more unsettling. Nested within the satin lining lies a single antique brass sextant, its polished surface reflecting the faint light filtering through the porthole. It's a beautiful anachronistic piece, an instrument of precise navigation from an era long past. But it's not the sextant itself that arrests your attention. It's the engraving on its base. A tiny, almost imperceptible symbol, a stylized anchor entwined with a serpent, a barely visible impression on the back of a victim's hand, dismissed by the original investigators as a random bruise. But to you, it had always felt like a deliberate mark. You'd spent sleepless nights trying to trace that symbol, convinced it was a signature. The official report never mentioned it. It was a detail only you had seen, only you had obsessed over. Arthur, the marina owner, knew nothing of sextants or serpentine anchors. His world was rusty engines and overdue invoices. The official investigation, confidently pursuing their red herring, is miles off course. The wind whips through the open porthole, rattling the glass, and you realize the true depth of the danger. The Phantom is not merely back. He's playing a game, and you are the chosen pawn. The sextant in your hand feels heavy, a burden of truth. This wasn't about revenge on a disgruntled business partner. The storm outside mirrors the tempest brewing within you, a renewed resolve hardening your gaze. You are no longer just a disgraced former detective. You are a hunter, and the hunt has just begun. Arthur, the marina owner, his dismissive wave, his history. It all felt like a frayed rope, offering no purchase. The detective's satisfied pronouncements about him, though, grated. Too easy. The pieces refused to settle, a discordant hum in your mind. You had followed the whispers, yes, to the water's edge, but the answers weren't there, not in the obvious places. The wind, a rising snarl, began to whip your coat as you stood on the desolate stretch of dock. A fresh tip, a fleeting conversation with a local fisherman pulling you here. He spoke of a boat, an older model, usually pristine, now looking abandoned, still anchored, even as the sky bruised a violent purple. Funny time for a storm, he'd grumbled, nodding toward the distant, darkening horizon. And funnier for a boat to be left like that. You felt the shift in the air, the metallic tang of an approaching tempest. This wasn't just a boat. It was a silent, waiting presence. The dinghy you borrowed from a nearby rack scraped against the yacht's hull as you clambered aboard. Inside the main cabin, an eerie stillness reigned, broken only by the creak of the hull and the rising howl of the wind. Not just any briefcases, but old-world leather embossed with a faded, almost indistinguishable crest. You ran a gloved finger over the worn leather, a faint tremor running through you. The clasps were intricate, brass catching the dim light. No keyhole, no obvious mechanism. And then you saw it, barely etched into the leather near one of the clasps, a tiny, almost invisible mark. It wasn't a letter, not a conventional symbol. It was a knot. A specific ancient maritime knot, a Carrick bend, but with an odd, almost imperceptible twist in one of the loops. It made the entire design subtly asymmetrical, almost like a stylized inverted A or a broken anchor. Your breath hitched. The wind outside roared, rattling the cabin. This knot, this twisted knot, it wasn't just on the briefcase. You had seen it before. Not prominently, not overtly, but hidden in plain sight, dismissed as a random detail, a craftsman's flourish. The first victim, decades ago, the one that had shattered your career. A small, decorative wooden box found near the body, its lid carved with a similar twisted Carrick bend. You'd chalked it up to the victim's hobby, their love for nautical antiques. Then, a few years later, a seemingly unrelated case, a missing person, their last known possession a key ring. You recalled the distinctive, almost identical knot design etched into the metal. The pieces slammed together with the force of a breaking wave. It wasn't random. It was deliberate. A signature. The killer wasn't just leaving bodies. They were leaving a mark, a twisted calling card, daring anyone to see it. This particular knot, the unique, subtle variation, wasn't accidental. It was a personal emblem, a brand. You knelt, scrutinizing the etching on the briefcase again, your mind racing, connecting the disparate threads across the decades. The victims, varied in age, profession, and location, had seemed to share no common link. It wasn't about who they were, but about the message left behind, woven into the fabric of the crime itself. A sudden violent lurch of the yacht threw you against the table. The storm was upon you, a furious crescendo of wind and rain. The briefcases slid, their weight anchoring them, but the sound of the ocean outside became a deafening roar. This wasn't just a signature, it was a statement. The inverted A, the broken anchor. What did it signify? A rejection of something? A twisted sense of justice, perhaps, tied to the sea, to legacy, to a lineage lost or betrayed? The killer hadn't just returned, they had never left. And now, here, on this abandoned yacht, as the storm raged, you had found the key to their terrifying narrative. But the question remained. What did the sealed briefcases contain? You were no longer chasing a phantom. You were standing on the precipice of understanding their twisted reality, and the storm outside mirrored the chaos that had just erupted in your mind. And you, Seth Corbin, were now inextricably bound to its unraveling. Rain, a fine mist at first, began to sting your cheeks as you guided the small, inflatable craft closer. The outboard motor a hushed whisper against the rising moan of the wind. Each wave slapped the hull of your makeshift transport, a rhythmic warning. The yacht's stern presented a ladder, glinting wetly. You secured your craft to a cleat, the rope biting into your gloved hands, then ascended with a practiced fluidity born of countless shadowed entries. The polished teak deck was slick beneath your boots, reflecting the lightning that now began to fracture the horizon. The air hummed with an electric charge, mirroring the current coursing through your veins. A single deckhand, a figure hunched against the elements, moved sluggishly near the bow, oblivious to your silent intrusion. The main salon door, a heavy slab of varnished wood, yielded with a soft click to your lock-picking tools. Plush carpets absorbed the muted sounds of your footsteps. The air, still and warm, carried the faint scent of old money and expensive liquor. Your objective was clear. The sealed briefcases. A quick sweep of the main living areas yielded nothing but lavish furnishings and a pervasive sense of absence. The owner, whoever they were, was not aboard, or at least not in this section. You descended to the lower deck, the soft glow of emergency lighting illuminating a narrow corridor. Cabins lined both sides, each door a potential barrier. The first three were empty, impeccably maintained, as if awaiting phantom guests. In the fourth, however, a faint metallic scent pricked at your senses, a subtle undertone beneath the lingering perfume of expensive wood. The cabin was larger, a master suite perhaps, dominated by a king-sized bed. It was exactly as described, sleek, unmarred, and secured with a numeric combination lock. Your fingers, calloused from years of such work, danced over the tumblers. The numbers you had pieced together from a fragmented financial record, a scrap of data dismissed by others, clicked into place. The latch snicked open with a soft, decisive sound. Inside, nestled amongst layers of foam, were not documents, but instruments. Surgical tools gleaming under the weak cabin light, arranged with an almost artistic precision. But it was not the tools themselves that seized your breath. It was the faint, almost imperceptible residue on one particular instrument, a delicate bone saw. It was old, very old, yet undeniably present. Your stomach clenched. This wasn't a doctor's kit. This was a craftsman's collection, designed for a specific, gruesome purpose. A floorboard creaked above you. Your head snapped up, the sound a sharp crack in the silent cabin. Footsteps. Heavy, deliberate, descending the companionway. You were not alone. You slammed the briefcase shut, the click echoing too loudly in the sudden stillness. Your hand went to the small, weighted object in your jacket pocket, your senses screaming for an exit. The footsteps paused outside the cabin door. The door swung inward with a slow, deliberate creak, revealing a towering figure. The yacht's captain, by the look of his crisp uniform, though his face was a mask of grim suspicion. He held no weapon, but his posture was a coiled threat, his large hands hanging loosely at his sides. "Just admiring the decor," you replied, your voice steady, betraying none of the frantic calculations racing through your mind. You needed to buy time to assess his intent. Was he merely a guard or something more? The decor isn't for viewing by uninvited guests. He took a step into the room, cutting off your most direct escape route. The storm outside intensified, a sudden gust rattling the porthole, a perfect backdrop to the escalating tension. And that briefcase, he nodded towards it, is definitely not for admiring. Your gaze darted around the cabin. The only other exit was the porthole, far too small and high to be a viable escape. The captain moved again, subtly, positioning himself between you and the door. He wasn't just suspicious, he knew. He knew the briefcase was important. He knew why you were here. No one, you stated, your hand tightening around the hilt of your concealed blade. This wasn't just a confrontation, it was a trap. You had walked right into it, driven by a lead that had been too good, too neat. The storm outside howled, a reflection of the tempest brewing within you. This wasn't a random discovery. It was a deliberate recognition. He knew you. He had been expecting someone, perhaps even you. The air crackled with danger, thick and suffocating. You were caught, exposed, on a rocking boat in the middle of a storm miles from shore. The briefcases were just the bait. You were the catch. A sudden lurch of the yacht, a violent shudder as a rogue wave slammed against the hull, threw the captain off balance for a split second. It was all you needed. You lunged, not for the door, but for the desk, grabbing the briefcase. You ducked under his grasp, the heavy leather case a shield, a weapon, as you spun towards the door. He moved with surprising speed for a man of his size, blocking your path again. His fist, a blunt instrument, shot out. You twisted, the blow glancing off your shoulder, sending a shock wave of pain through your arm. The briefcase clattered to the floor, spilling its ghastly contents. The gleaming tools, the bone saw with its ancient stain, glittered on the carpet. His eyes, when they landed on the tools, hardened further, a silent acknowledgement of their purpose. But there was no surprise, only a grim acceptance. He knew what they were. He knew their owner. "You won't leave with that," he declared, his voice a low, dangerous rumble. He wasn't just protecting the yacht. He was protecting something far more sinister. He was a guardian, a loyal sentinel to the phantom killer you hunted. You had found your lead, Seth, and it was a lead that threatened to consume you whole. His voice, knowing your name, had sliced through the humid air. He hadn't just found you. He'd waited. Seth Corbin, the stranger repeats, a low rumble beneath the rising wind. Resignation? You always were predictable, chasing ghosts. You stand your ground, the deck swaying beneath your feet. And what are you doing with those? Your gaze snaps to the two sleek metallic briefcases secured to the deck by thick braided rope, gleaming dully in the dimming light. They hum with an unspoken weight, locked tight. "My role is merely to deliver," he replies, a sardonic twist to his lips. "And to witness. The architect of this symphony, he knew you would come. He knew the echoes of the past would draw you, like a moth to a flickering flame. The architect?" You press, your voice a low growl. "Who is he?" A distant thunderclap vibrates through the hull, a warning from the darkening sky. The stranger gestures vaguely towards the briefcases. These contain his testament, his grand design, and your final lesson. He watches you, a peculiar intensity in his stare. You remember the original case, don't you? Every detail. The young woman, the meticulous staging, the impossible lack of evidence. The case that had branded you a failure. What does that have to do with this? Everything, he states, a single word laden with history. He believes you missed a crucial piece, a truth hidden in plain sight, obscured by the very pain it caused. You take a cautious step forward, your eyes scanning the stranger, the yacht's polished surfaces, the briefcases. The boat groans against its mooring, the waves beginning to slap against the hull with increasing force. And you? Are you his accomplice? He offers a mirthless chuckle. An unwilling instrument, Seth. Like so many others. He has a talent for it, you see. For pulling strings, for weaving lives into his tapestry without their consent. He shifts his weight, and for a fleeting moment, you catch a glimpse of a faint, almost imperceptible scar tracing the line of his jaw, partially hidden by his collar. It's old, faded, but distinct. Unwilling instrument, string puller, the phantom killer, the scar. Where have you seen something like that before? A memory, a ghost of an image flickers at the edge of your consciousness, refusing to coalesce. The storm truly breaks then. Rain lashes down, instantly blurring the horizon. The yacht pitches violently, throwing you off balance. The stranger stumbles, his hand instinctively reaching out to steady himself, brushing against the briefcases. In that momentary chaos, a small silver key, previously hidden by the folds of his sleeve, tumbles from his grasp, skittering across the wet deck towards the scupper. "No," he shouts, a genuine panic in his voice, lunging for it. "But you are faster." He freezes, his eyes wide with a desperate plea. "Give it back, Seth. You don't understand what you're unleashing." The key is small, intricate, clearly designed for the briefcases. This is it, the final piece. You ignore his desperate plea, your gaze fixed on the briefcases, then back to the stranger. "Tell me who he is." You demand, your voice cutting through the roar of the wind. "Or I open these myself." He hesitates, his chest heaving. The one you never suspected. The one who helped you. Helped you. Guided your investigation. The image of the scar on his jaw snaps into focus, connecting with a long-forgotten photograph from the original case file. A young man, a witness, comforting the victim's grieving family, a faint scar visible even then. Not the killer, but someone close to the periphery. Someone who could have been manipulated. And then, the puzzle pieces click into place with an agonizing clarity. It wasn't just about a killer. It was about a message, a meticulously crafted narrative of vengeance or correction. It's the victim's family. You breathe. The realization a punch to the gut. Not the direct family, but someone close. Someone who had unparalleled access and trust. The confidant. The stranger flinches, his eyes dropping. He orchestrated everything. The original disappearance, the framing of a convenient scapegoat, the subtle redirection of your efforts. He became the voice of reason, the pillar of support, all while constructing his grand masterpiece. Your mind races back to the grainy photos, the interviews, the periphery figures. There was one, always there, always offering a quiet observation, a helpful lead, a shoulder to lean on. He was the one who had urged you to look deeper, to question the obvious, subtly steering you away from himself. The stranger nods slowly, his shoulders slumping. He saw your failure not as an accident, but as an opportunity to complete his work, to expose the flaws in the system, to finally, truly avenge what he believed was stolen from him. His name, you demand, your voice raw with the shock of recognition, the betrayal of a memory you had long buried. Give me his name. The stranger looks at you, then at the briefcases, the wind whipping his hair across his face. He is the one you tried so hard to comfort. He never left. The bereaved brother. The one you saw as a fellow sufferer, a victim of circumstance, not a meticulous, calculating architect of decades of violence. The man who had walked alongside you through the initial grief and confusion, subtly shaping your perception. The man you had, in your own blindness, trusted. Your hand tightens around the small silver key. The briefcases suddenly pulse with a new, terrifying significance. And the storm outside rages, mirroring the tempest that has just erupted within you. The phantom killer was never a phantom at all. He was flesh and blood, a familiar face, a shadow cast by your own past. And he had been watching you, waiting for this moment, for your return, all along. The ultimate betrayal. The air thickens around you, a palpable weight pressing down from a sky-bruised purple and gray. Rain, a skirmish of icy needles, begins to lash the polished deck, streaking the dark hull. Below your feet, the vessel sways with a languid, unsettling rhythm, a prelude to the tempest gathering its fury. You stand by the rail, knuckles white against the cold metal, your gaze fixed on the churning water. The words from the previous night still echo, a venomous whisper in the chambers of your memory. The bereaved brother, the man whose grief you had once mirrored, whose pain you had believed to be a reflection of your own. The realization, a shard of ice in your gut, is a wound that festers, turning your past empathy into a bitter mockery. He emerges from the cabin's shadow, a figure silhouetted against the deepening gloom, his posture relaxed, almost serene. "Seth," he says, his voice cutting through the rising wind, calm as a tide pool. No tremor, no hint of the monstrous truth you now carry. There is only a quiet intensity, a calculating glint in the depths of his gaze that you now recognize as pure, unadulterated malevolence. It was always you state, the words tasting like ash. The accusation hangs between you, suspended by the growing howl of the wind. The grief, the carefully placed hints. It was all a performance, wasn't it? But your own demons, your own need for redemption, they clouded your vision. You saw a victim where I saw an instrument. The waves begin to slap against the hull with greater force, a percussive rhythm to his confession. The pattern, Seth. You saw it, but never truly understood its genesis. He gestures towards the cabin, a subtle invitation. "Come inside. The storm is truly upon us. We have much to discuss." You hesitate, your instincts screaming caution, but the need to hear it, to understand the full scope of his depravity, pulls you forward. You follow him into the salon, the space suddenly feeling confined, claustrophobic. On the polished mahogany table, 2 sealed briefcases rest, sleek and ominous. The legacy. He looks at you, his eyes alight with a disturbing zeal. You see, it wasn't just about the initial injustice, Seth. It was about correcting the entire system. Every victim, every accident, every disappearance. They were all carefully selected. Each a thread in a tapestry of retribution against those who profit from the suffering of others, those who evade accountability through wealth and influence. He opens one of the briefcases. Inside, neatly stacked folders are visible, each meticulously labeled. There are also several USB drives and a small, antique-looking pistol. Your breath catches. This isn't just a killer. He's an avenging angel in his own warped mythology, systematically dismantling a network of perceived corruption. The initial murder, you press, your voice low, that was a catalyst. But the others, they were targets, not just collateral damage. You were cleaning house, weren't you? It was merely dormant, waiting for the right moment to awaken, to draw the right attention. Your attention, Seth. You were the perfect instrument for my grand design. A disgraced detective, hungry for vindication, blind to the puppet strings. The yacht lurches violently as a massive wave strikes. A tremor runs through the vessel, rattling the glassware in their cradles. The storm outside is no longer closing in. It has arrived. Rain lashes the portholes, blurring the outside world into a chaotic smear of gray and white. The sealed briefcases, you observe, your gaze flicking from the folders to the weapon. They contain the evidence of your work. The list of your victims, perhaps? Or the final phase of your plan? Both, he replies, his hand hovering over the pistol. The details of every correction, and the means to ensure my message is delivered, even if I encounter an unforeseen obstacle. His eyes meet yours. It was to be my final stage, a symbolic vanishing act. The storm, a perfect accomplice to erase all traces. He picks up the antique pistol, its polished wood gleaming faintly in the dim light. But you, my dear detective, you are an unforeseen variable, a loose end that must be tied. The air crackles with unspoken threats. The storm howls like a hungry beast, its fury mirroring the tempest brewing within the confines of the salon. Your mind races, assessing the distance, the weapon, the two sealed briefcases. This wasn't just a confession. It was a deadly invitation. A final, lethal performance where you were cast as the last unwilling participant. You are not just confronting a killer. You are facing the architect of your own downfall, a man who has meticulously planned every step, including this final, fatal encounter. You will not be another footnote in his twisted legacy. You lunge, a primal surge of adrenaline fueling your tired limbs. The ornate letter opener, clutched in the hand of the orchestrator, glints wickedly as the cabin lights flicker, mirroring the tempest brewing in your own chest. Your eyes lock with theirs, and in that fleeting, charged moment, you see not just the phantom killer, but the chilling familiarity of a face once dismissed. A presence always lurking at the periphery of your forgotten cases. The deck pitches violently, throwing you off balance, but you compensate, a lifetime of instinct guiding your movements. The orchestrator, surprisingly agile for their calm demeanor, parries your clumsy attack, a sneer twisting their lips. Such predictable desperation, Seth. Their voice cuts through the howl of the wind, laced with a cold, almost academic amusement. You always were a brute, never a thinker. You ignore the barb, focusing on the glinting steel. The briefcases, symbols of their meticulous depravity, slide precariously across the polished mahogany floor, their leather gleaming under the intermittent light. You feint left, drawing their attention, then pivot, slamming your shoulder into their midsection. Air rushes from their lungs in a gasp, and the letter opener clatters to the floor, skittering under a velvet settee. The orchestrator stumbles back, eyes wide with a sudden raw panic. The mask of composed intellect shatters, revealing a desperate animal. They claw at you, nails raking your arm, but you seize their wrists, twisting them behind their back. The storm outside intensifies, a deafening crescendo of wind and water, as if the very elements conspire to witness this final, brutal reckoning. You drive them against the bulkhead, the impact jarring your own bones, but you hold fast. It ends now, you rasp, your voice hoarse, tasting of salt and exhaustion. The orchestrator struggles, a low growl escaping their throat. You find the zip ties you'd secreted in your jacket pocket, quickly securing their wrists, a definitive click echoing in the shuddering salon. Their eyes, once so coolly analytical, burn with a frantic hatred, a promise of retribution that will never be fulfilled. Two identical leather rectangles, waiting. The first you wrench open, the brass clasps groaning. Inside, nestled on a bed of black velvet, lies a meticulously bound ledger. Its pages, thin as onion skin, are filled with precise, elegant script. Dates, locations, names. Not just of victims, but of targets. Each entry accompanied by a small, intricate sketch. A unique pattern of blood spatter. A specific knot in a rope. A symbol carved into a surface. The revealed discovery hits you with the force of a physical blow. The motive wasn't random. It was an elaborate, perverse collection of human experience, meticulously curated. You close the first briefcase, your fingers trembling, and reach for the second. This one holds not a ledger. A collection of small, personal items. A chipped porcelain button, a tarnished silver locket containing a faded photograph, a single dried rose petal, a child's lost tooth, each item individually wrapped in tissue paper and labeled with a victim's initials and the date of their disappearance. These are the true trophies, the intimate fragments of stolen lives, preserved with a morbid reverence. The orchestrator watches you, their frantic struggles ceasing, replaced by a strange, almost serene acceptance. A silent pride in their grotesque exhibition. A heavy thud on the deck above. Then another, closer. The salon door bursts inward, splintering from its frame, revealing the lead detective, pistol drawn, rain plastering their hair to their forehead. Behind them, two uniformed officers, weapons leveled, their eyes wide with a mix of shock and relief. Their gaze sweeps from you, battered but standing, to the bound orchestrator, then to the open briefcases. Recognition dawns, grim and absolute. It's them, isn't it? You nod, unable to speak, the words caught in a throat suddenly tight with unshed tears, with the bitter taste of victory. Your muscles ache, your head throbs, and the phantom ghost of 1,000 unanswered questions finally begins to dissipate. The lead detective approaches, holstering their weapon, their face etched with weariness but also a profound respect. You did it, Seth. After all these years. You lean against a bulkhead, the vibrations of the yacht a dull thrum against your back. The storm, as if sensing the resolution, begins to recede, its howls softening to a mournful sigh. The first faint streaks of dawn, bruised purple and orange, bleed across the horizon, painting the turbulent waters with a promise of calm. Justice, not a roaring triumph, but a quiet, solemn truth, has been served. The weight of the past, so heavy for so long, has at last begun its slow, deliberate lift from your shoulders. Your journey forward, though uncertain, is now unburdened by the phantom. The first faint streaks of dawn, bruised purple and orange, bleed across the horizon, painting the turbulent waters in hues of a fading bruise. The storm, as if sensing the resolution, begins to recede, its howls softening to a mournful sigh, leaving behind a profound stillness that rings in your ears. Your gaze drifts from the vast expanse of the awakening sea to the silent figure slumped near the helm, bound and disarmed. The orchestrator, the phantom you had chased through years of shadows, now rendered inert, a mere mortal stripped of their intricate design. The final confrontation had been swift, brutal, a blur of instinct and desperation played out on a pitching deck. You feel the ghost of a tremor in your hands, not from fear, but from the sheer, raw expenditure of everything you had left. The taste of salt, sweat, and something metallic lingers on your tongue. Near your feet lie the sealed briefcases, their polished leather still gleaming despite the spray. They are the true heart of this revelation, the silent repositories of a decade-spanning malevolence. You kneel, the stiffness in your joints a testament to the night's trials, and reach for the clasps. Each click echoes in the sudden quiet, a sharp punctuation mark in the narrative of your life. The first case opens to reveal a meticulously organized collection of documents. Faded photographs, newspaper clippings, and a series of hand-drawn maps. Each map marks a location, a date, and a name, not of a victim, but of a target. The killer's rationale, you realize with a sickening lurch, was not random. It was a twisted, self-righteous crusade, eliminating individuals perceived as blemishes on a grander, imagined societal fabric. This wasn't just murder. It was an ideological cleansing, born from a mind convinced of its own superior judgment. The second briefcase holds not paper, but a collection of small, ornate silver trinkets, each etched with a different symbol. A bird, a key, a broken chain. You recognize them. These were the anomalies, the seemingly meaningless objects left at each crime scene, dismissed as eccentric signatures. Now you understand. They were trophies, tokens of a completed mission, each symbol representing a specific transgression the killer believed their target had committed. The bird, perhaps, for perceived freedom taken. The key, for unlocking forbidden knowledge. The broken chain, for the severing of societal bonds. This was the killer's private language, a macabre ledger of their dark accomplishments. It was all here, laid bare in the rising sun. The event of discovery isn't just about the killer's identity, but the terrifying depth of their warped ideology. Help, rescue, judgment. You rise, the briefcases clutched in your hands, their weight feeling less like evidence and more like the burden of all the unspoken horrors they represent. When the patrol boat pulls alongside the yacht, the faces of the officers are grim, their eyes weary but sharp. The lead detective, a woman with tired but intelligent eyes, steps onto the deck, her gaze sweeping over the scene. She pauses at the bound figure, then her eyes meet yours. There's no accusation, no dismissive sneer, only a flicker of something akin to respect. "Seth," she says, her voice low, "you found them." You nod, gesturing to the briefcases. Everything, the motive, the pattern, the signature, it's all here. She takes the briefcases from your hands, her fingers brushing yours, a silent acknowledgement passing between you. A colleague, a younger officer, approaches you, offering a thermal blanket. It's not absolution, not yet, but it is a partial restoration. A quiet reclamation of your standing. The phantom is corporeal now, exposed, stripped of their power in the harsh light of a new day. You feel no triumph, only a deep, weary satisfaction. The hunt is over. The immediate threat neutralized. The ordeal has left an indelible mark, a deeper etching in the lines around your eyes, a new gravity in your bearing. The world you abandoned has pulled you back in, forced you to confront its ugliest truths, and in doing so has reshaped you. The old life, the one defined by disgrace and regret, feels distant, like a faded photograph. Later, standing on the mainland, the solid ground beneath your feet a welcome anchor, you watch the yacht being towed away, a vessel carrying away the echoes of a nightmare. The detective approaches you again, a faint smile touching her lips. They'll want your full statement, but for what it's worth, Seth, you did good. You offer a faint smile in return. Just finished what I started. The path forward isn't clear, not entirely. The system may never fully reinstate you. The scars of the past run too deep. The new beginning isn't a return to what was, but an emergence into something different. The ocean breeze, now gentle, carries the scent of salt and possibility. The tension has shifted from the immediate threat to the quiet, simmering anticipation of what comes next. You are no longer merely haunted. You are, for the first time in a long time, truly present.